Hey everybody, this is Ali Craig, and let's talk about the 5 ways to write from your heart rather than your head. Yep, I know it. You sit down to write, well, anything. It could be your book, it could be your ebook, it could be sales copy, it could just be a speaking presentation, it could be a social media post for that matter. And what happens? All of your fun, witty ideas, your sense of humor, and all of that goes straight out the window, and you're writing very analytical, very uptight kind of presentations and events and just nonsense, basically. Well, the truth is that your heart is what sells. You know it. We all know it. So let's find how in the world can we write from our heart rather than our head. Well, first off, you have to get in touch with your heart. Like before you actually start writing, before you sit down, pen to paper, fingers to keyboard, you need to actually ground yourself in what is the purpose of this writing? What is the experience you want them to feel, the reader to feel? And not just know that in your head, but be able to biologically feel that, to feel that emotion, that connection with them and to them. By doing that alone and staying there, you're actually going to be able to write from your heart and write on a very deep emotional level. Secondly, you got to truly, truly feel it. I mean, if you can actually bring yourself back, if you're telling a story, bring yourself back to that moment and share every nuance of how you felt. It doesn't matter if in the end you edit all that out. What allowing yourself to go back and feel it and then share those little moments, you actually end up organically adding in those details that really help to fulfill and create a fuller picture for your audience. So maybe in the end, you don't keep all the details, but when you actually allow yourself to feel it, you're going to remember little nuances that you wouldn't have remembered before of how the light shined in the room or how things smelt or the certain sounds or whatever it is. And it's those little details that are going to create a deeper experience for your work. Third thing, just speak it. Yep, speak it. It can be recording it, it can be speaking it to another human being, but simply speak it. When you actually speak it, guess what? You tend to actually speak in a more natural way and therefore get out of your head. Fourth, share it. If you're feeling completely clueless about what really to say, go talk to someone who would actually truly be interested in what you have to write about and have them actively engage in listening. And then you need to hopefully record it unless you can do two things at once, which is tell your story as well as gauge the reaction of the other person. When you actually see someone else's reactions of when they're naturally leaning in or when they're kind of getting distracted, you can begin to understand what elements of your story truly hit their heart. Because when they're leaning in, they're completely engaged, not with their heads, but with their hearts. Lastly, it isn't about you. Far too often when we sit down and we write, we are always thinking about us. What is it that we want to say, we want to do, we want to accomplish? And though you are a vital part in this, you are only part of the relationship. And we really should be considering the other person and their experience more than ours. And when we come and write from a position of that nature, then guess what? Our head tends to get out of it and our heart tends to reign.